Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Cup TV, the Currently Unnamed Podcast, where we put the real and the tea in reality. And you can always come to us first to quench your thirst. I am your girl, Lana, your resident evil diva, and I'm here to give the tea, spill the tea, and drink the tea because you know I love me some tea. I'm drinking a little water here because hydration is important, but I also have my cup mug because that is also important. And we have a panel full of cup mugs, panel full of cup mugs, beer, 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 beer. Deal or No Deal Island exit interview edition. Period. And you can get your cup mug or any of our beautiful cup merch at lanagcreations.etsy.com. That link will be in the description below. And we do ship internationally and domestically. So there are no excuses unless your postal service wants to move a little bit slow. But a delay is never a deny. It will get there. It just might take some time. Get your cup merch. Period.
And hello, my name is Jack. I am the resident game designer of the panel, and I'm honestly here because I heard a storm was brewing potentially.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
We got like a nice rainfall of questions coming, maybe some tea in the air. I don't know.
Period. We are here talking about all of the exit interviews with the Deal or No Deal crew. And y'all, I'm excited. I'm excited because we get to talk to Storm. Storm is here. We're gonna talk to Storm in a little bit, but y'all know what to do. Y'all know what y'all have to do. Hit the subscribe button on this channel. We are trying to get 8,000 subscribers by the end of the year. So subscribe to this channel if you haven't already done it. If this is your first time, welcome. And please subscribe to the channel. Help us out. And so we can continue to give you great content. If you are a fan of drag race, WWE wrestling, or Eurovision Song Contest, we have 3 other channels that you can join. All those links will be in the description below. Click on it, subscribe to it, and we'll appreciate you. Also, if you need to check us out on the go, our audio podcast links are down there as well, so you can check us out on audio stream. And our Patreon. Our Patreon is about to heat up. We have a lot of great ideas about to come down the pipeline for you guys. And when I take it, they're amazing. I'm very happy with what we got coming up. So if you want to know what we're talking about on the Patreon, because that's where it gets real crazy and real wild and just fun. So check out our Patreon. That link is down there as well. And we're gonna, it's a chill in the air, Jack. The
wind is picking up.
The wind is picking up. It's getting cloudy outside. I think it's a storm of brewing.
Yeah, and I mean, I think we have to go get shelter somewhere. So give us just a moment, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, so enough about us. Let's go talk to Storm. Ding. And we are here. We told y'all it was a storm of brewing, and Storm is here, y'all. Woo!
How's it going, guys?
Welcome. So thank you so much for joining us here at the Cup TV. We appreciate you taking the time to talk to us.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So we got to jump right into it because I want to know how you feeling after watching your elimination, and were there any regrets about anything?
It's funny because I know what happened, right? I was there, I filmed it, but watching it on TV again, I feel all the emotions from what happened that night, all just rushing back to me, and it's like it's kind of crazy because even as I'm watching it and I know what happens, I'm still shocked at what he did at the very end of it. I mean, I really did not see it coming. It was completely, perfectly executed blindside. I don't even think the other cast members knew. I don't even think Dixon at one point knew he was going to do that, and just flawlessly chopped me right out.
That was wild. I sat there and watched this, and I was like, what? Like, where did that come from? We had no inkling. Watching it, nothing was said or done that led up to that point to be like, oh yeah, it's gonna be Storm. He's gonna, if he wins, that was never a thought in my mind.
I mean, there were so many reasons to believe that it wasn't going to happen, right? Like I'd helped Dixon in the Sandcastle Challenge.
Yes.
I had a partner with me. I was his friend. I was genuinely his friend on the island. We had deals, so we were in an alliance secretly behind the cameras. I was his biggest advocate in Temple that night. I mean, I was screaming, hugging this kid, cheering for him as he was succeeding in one of the greatest games of Deal or No Deal I think that's ever been played.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, I'm even joking while he's like talking about who he's going to get rid of. You know, I'm talking to Letty, you know, making jokes. I'm so confident it's not going to be me. And then, boom, like that, walking out.
Oh,
Wild.
God, yeah.
Wild.
That is crazy. Like, I genuinely still watching over, I was like, did he just pull a name out of a hat? Like, it didn't make sense to me.
I've gone through it a couple times in my head. I went through it that night, definitely the next few nights right afterwards, and I just don't know if he actually had what it takes to do that on his own. I think there was influence from somebody else, but I mean, you know, I've talked to everybody still. We're all in a group message, we're all cool with each other. Nobody says anything,
right?
Dixon, you know, but I have my suspicions.
Well, to rewind it back from elimination to the first time that you've heard of the show, what made you apply?
So it's actually funny. I was interviewing for Big Brother, and I ended up getting to one of the final rounds. And they went with my friend who almost won it. Her name was Mackenzie.
We definitely know Mackenzie.
Yes.
Like I met her once, and then
Mackenzie and me go way back. We were very close, and she almost won it. And so, anyways, all that to be said, I didn't end up getting it. My casting director was just like, "Hey, you should try this other show, Deal or No Deal Island." I didn't really know what it was at the time. I know what Deal or No Deal was, but not on an island. And I told him, I don't know. I can't keep telling my company that like I might leave for an extended period of time. I don't know how much more they're going to take that. But he convinced me to do it anyways. And a couple of months later, I was on the undisclosed island and competing for millions of dollars. So I had no real reality TV show experience prior to that. It was just a couple of Instagram DMs, and I was there.
My God.
I mean, that's wild. It's so wild because like we've heard so many, like Luke tell us like he had no reality experience and he never did anything like this, and then Rock was like, I did not. Luke didn't apply, and you didn't really have to really apply because of your connection with Big Brother. It's so funny how people are getting on these shows, and I'm like, nobody ever comes into my DMs and asks me to be on these shows.
So random. I have no idea how they find some of the people. I'd say at least like actually probably more than half the cast was just like randomly found.
That's
some of them months in advance,
God.
some of them like a couple of weeks almost before they were actually on the island. Okay, you want to do this?
God.
Wow. So you didn't watch season 1?
I did watch season 1. Yeah.
Okay.
Once they DM me and they're like, hey, you know, we're thinking about casting you for the show. They're like, we need you to watch season 1 and kind of know what you're talking about. You're talking to our cast producers, and I was like, yeah, I agree. That's a good idea.
So what did you learn from watching season 1? Did you learn anything that you should go into the season with knowing?
So I learned that I learned a lot of things. I remember at the beginning, I came up with a 3-phase plan per se. Phase 1, at least from my perspective, was to kind of try to ride a little bit in the middle, right? Sandbag a lot of the competition, because as soon as I got there, people started calling me a physical threat. People started saying that like I should be probably targeted, and I didn't really want to be targeted right off the bat. So I wanted to work a really strong social game and then sandbag the physical competitions to where people liked me, and they also didn't really see me as somebody that needed to go because I wasn't winning anything. I was executing that pretty well, you know, purposely, not purposely, I don't know. I was riding the middle line pretty well. Then phase 2, you know, I didn't want to form an alliance. I didn't want myself to do it. I wanted to kind of just find myself on an alliance so that nobody was looking at me as like somebody creating some sort of opposition. And I did that. I ended up finding myself in High Five just because that was our dome, and we ended up all bonding really well. And then phase 3 was just going to be like, you have to win. Like you have to beat the next people around you because it's a dog race now. And so I was like really nearing the edge of that first phase, right? Going to that next challenge, because by now, I mean, the family's solidified. High Five was solidified. So like people know who that they are gravitating to, and people know who they're working for. And so it was working for me so far, but then yeah, of course, didn't.
Yeah.
just didn't work out.
Didn't get to finish the phases. It's all right.
Yeah. So I learned a lot of the stuff I was saying in the phase in season 1. Don't want to be too loud, right? Nobody likes super loud. You don't want to reveal that you're on another Survivor reality TV show. People are usually gunning for that guy. So a couple of tips and tricks.
Speaking of those other reality TV shows, did you know any of Parvati or David or Dr. Will coming in, or were they just people?
So I knew Dr. Will from the research I'd done. I figured out that he was, I guess, the guy on Big Brother pretty quickly. And a lot of people immediately recognized him. Like everybody was talking pretty fast. And then I knew Parvati. I didn't know David. Nobody, I think, knew David at the beginning. So, or maybe even I don't even think anybody knew in general, I think, except for Parvati. But Parvati, I ended up finding in the most random way because I've never watched a season of Survivor, but I knew who she was because right before we flew out to the island, I was just kind of watching YouTube videos they were playing on my computer of Survivor highlights because I remember Wolf Boston Rob's on it and it did really well. They're probably going to put some more people on. And so one of these YouTube videos that popped up was 40 hottest Survivor players that have ever done the game. Survivor players. And I remember I was watching this or whatever, kind of doing other things, looking out of the corner of my eye. And I remember seeing Parvati's name and thinking, because in the summertime, my weekend job is captaining boats. And I drive this one boat called a Pavati. And I remember just thinking that's like kind of weird, right? Random. Seems like a similar spelling as Parvati. And when we got to the island, we were introducing our names. She said Parvati. And I remember her name. I remember kind of seeing her on some of these highlights. And it just clicked. And I'd never even seen her play, but I'd known she'd won multiple seasons. I'd known she was on Survivor. So totally random, but kind of to my benefit.
That's wild. That is wild. The way people found out about people, that's crazy to me. Okay, so I'm going to be honest. They did not do you the best when it came to editing this season. Like we didn't see a lot of you at the beginning of the season, like the first few episodes. We see who you are. There's Storm, he's here. But we didn't get a lot of your backstory or like who you were. And so some of the biggest moments that we saw came from this last episode that you were on. And it was really focused around the flirtments that you had with MG. And so okay, and I'm gonna be honest. I am not a fan of showmances. I'm a reality show girly, and on every show, I'm like, oh, not the showmance. But I have to do it because I'm a journalist. This is my job. We must know, and the people want to know. The flirtmans. Is it real? Are you still together? Like, what's going on between Storm and MG?
So whenever I was on the island, right, production, they knew what they were doing. They sat me right in the middle of Letty and like they knew what they were doing.
They knew.
And so I became friends with both of them, right? Letty ended up being in my dome and we became just really close alliance members. And then Maria Grace was in another one, but we were still always sitting next to each other. Like if you pay attention in the first few episodes, production sits us next to each other in Temple. Production puts us next to each other when we're starting. They're playing Cupid. And because, they were playing Cupid and we enjoyed each other's company, we started to kind of laugh and make jokes, flirt with each other, just have kind of a good time. And then, one night we were under like this palm tree and it was kind of like raining a little bit. I think I had a towel on my head. And we started kind of like flirting a little bit more and laughing a little bit more. And then some of our alliance members came up to us like, hey, look, it looks like you guys are getting into something. Looks like, what's going on. And that was kind of like a wake-up call to both of us. And we were like, oh, maybe we should come up with some sort of excuse. And so I ended up telling my alliance, hey, look, I still got y'all's back. I'm using this as a double agent. I'm going to get information from her. I told her to say the exact same thing to her alliance. They believed her. And that would hopefully keep some of the heat off of us, right? Plus, we weren't exactly like huge threats throughout the season. We were right in that middle. So I remember thinking, well, nobody's going to really care. Like we're not a David and Parvati duo, just like wrecking these competitions. They're just going to think, oh, this is a cute little innocent thing going on over here. Let's focus on the big threats like Dr. Will and CK and some of these other things that are going on. And we would just kind of float on by. So
Mhm.
that was the theory. Now, I don't know if any reality TV analyst is going to ever agree with that theory, but I do remember being on the island thinking, oh, this is brilliant, you know?
You said that too. You were like, nobody's gonna care about us. I mean,
Yeah.
nobody. I think we're overthinking it, and I was like, no, everybody's gonna care about that. Like, and especially coming from like Parvati and Dr. Will with the shows that they've come from, and David. You see a couple getting together, that's a threat to your game. It's like these people are gonna always vote together, no matter what. And even though it's the game is deal or no deal, and luck at the thing, it's like if I'm ever in the bottom 3 with Storm, MG, and myself, and they have to vote somebody on, oh no, I'm gone. So we can't ever have that situation. So yeah, I was like, yeah, they're gonna care.
Yeah. No, definitely that early on, I was thinking maybe it'll be all right.
Yeah.
There's still common enemies, right? Everybody at this point
Absolutely.
doesn't like CK. Everybody at this point thinks Dr. Will's a problem. So like I wasn't too worried that we were even getting targeting yet. And if we had lasted a little bit longer, if I had lasted a little bit longer the episode, maybe it would have become a problem. We could have seen that showman's blow up, but it didn't even come to fruition yet. We had one breakfast date.
But you got a break with it. Ain't got a kiss at the end, so that was kind of great. That was kind of great. I love that part. I thought that was cute. I thought that
was cool. That was cool. I was in my exit interview because after you get eliminated, you walk out and you don't see anybody again.
It's just bye.
It's goodbye because they don't want you to influence anybody. They don't want you to like start a fight. God forbid. So they get you out of there pretty quick. And I'm in like 5 minutes into my exit interview. Of course, the confessionals are talking to me, telling me like, did you see that come in? Like, how do you feel? Like, I was like, I feel shitty. Thank you for asking. And then she kind of sneaks in behind me and was like, hey, like, I'm so sorry. I can't believe this happened, but there is something I wanted to ask you.
Oh, it was so cute.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was cool.
It was cute. I will give that. As a showman's hater, it was very cute. So I love that for you.
Yeah, so definitely a way to leave the island in style, right? It wasn't the worst. I mean, I lost millions of dollars, but at least I got it.
Yeah. Just ignore the guy who just won $5 million for the prize pot. You got a fairy tale ending, and that's what counts.
It was cute.
Got some good airtime there. Yeah,
absolutely.
So going from that challenge, which went sort of well, you were in danger, but didn't really feel like anything was going on. What did you feel like Dixon was doing? Did you have an idea of who he might have actually just picked, or was there any influences that we didn't get to see?
And this is after the axe competition when we're back sort of at camp talking.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I was pretty sure that I had come up with a really foolproof plan because Will is the one that was going to be making the decision. And you guys saw that. They did a really good job of editing how that plan was sort of orchestrated. He came in our dome and he was actually like leaning more towards trusting us just because we'd all been sleeping in the same dome. So he locked everybody else out. He's like, I'll talk to y'all later. Comes to us. He's like, all right, look, I can't put CK up. I made a deal with her, but I do want her to get out. Like, what should we do? And I was talking with him and I was like, well, we just need to find somebody else that wants to get CK out. Like, okay, I was like, who's an expendable person that's not in our alliance or the family's alliance that can probably get rid of CK or that can go? And CK is that person, but we can put Dixon up and convince him that CK was already going to gun for him anyways. And then I'll go over to Dixon and say, Will's going to put CK up and she's going to take you out unless we just put you up and you take CK out. And convinced him that it was a good idea and convinced him that Will should put him up and that he was going to take CK out. I mean, you didn't even see it on camera. He walked up to CK and said, I'm taking you out if I win tonight. He said that on the island. And he walked up to me, which you did see, and was like, you're good. Like, I'm not straight up. Nobody's coming for you. Like, you're fine. And I honestly believe he went to Temple that night thinking he was not going to take me out. I think he went to Temple that night thinking if he wins like a couple million or he manages to survive, he's going to take CK out. But he had such an electric game and was so excited that he was like, screw it. I'm going to do something super big and I'm going to start a war with this other alliance. And he took me out. Now, there's been a couple other theories where some people are like, I think Dixon was sort of like envious of some of the things you were doing. Possible, but
that was crazy. Like I said, we didn't see it coming. I was very shocked. Mm-hmm. So my question is, if you played the banker and you had the great game like Dixon had, who would you have taken out?
It's funny. I don't exactly know who I would have. I just know who I should have. Because looking back at it, right, like I'm thinking, oh, I have a good relationship with everybody on this island.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to try to go with who everybody doesn't like. And
Mm-hmm.
at that time, it was CK. CK probably would have been like if I won, who I taken out, because everybody's like, oh, we should take her out. She's not part of the family. So there's no blood on my hands. I'm looking clean now. Realistically, I probably should have taken out the biggest other physical threat that was an option to take out, which was David. But I probably would have taken CK out. So, and I don't even know if I would have won, because I remember thinking my number is going to be 4. And so if I have the $5 million case and I didn't play a perfect game, because Dixon was never even given an opportunity to take a good deal. Like the banker sandbagged him with every deal until the very last one was 50-50. And so at that point, were you just going to go with the higher number?
Go with it.
So like if I had not made a perfect game and I had taken any deal, I would have lost anyways. So kind of almost seems like it was meant to happen like that, but.
Right.
Yeah, that game against the banker was tough. I mean, you don't expect someone to draw perfectly and then just knockout after knockout for that. So, I mean, what do you got to do at that point?
It was even crazier live. I mean, like, you see these things on TV. Like, I remember doing this when I was watching season 1. You see these things on TV and like, oh, they look so excited. Oh my gosh, but I'm sure this is a little bit edited. This is that, this is that. Like watching it live, like it is just as real as it is on the TV. Like it is, nobody knows what's going on. Nobody actually knows if he's going to get it or not. It's not like we're doing runbacks afterwards. Like that's the one place we don't do any like cuts and retakes, like that is authentic, genuine first real reactions. And when he opened that case, I mean, eruption in time. He grabbed, I didn't even show. He grabbed the case and was just running in circles with it. He didn't know how to like contain all of his excitement, and neither did we.
No, that's crazy. $5 million to play that game and win that fight. That's just. I would have been crazy, like passed out on the floor, like holding the case, clutching it, like
$5 million too, starting off with $1. So
$1.
Like,
yeah, wild.
The full extremes of the game, but unfortunately, everything does have to come to an end, and Dixon decided that you were the person that he was going to take out. You were a little shocked at the end there, but as you left the game, who were you kind of looking towards to go all the way and hopefully secure that now $5 million deal?
So I obviously wanted MG to go far, right? Like I had a special soft spot for her. But I wasn't sure if she would have took over some of my alliance members to go the distance, right? Like Philip, Seychelles, and Letty were in my alliance. And I remember going up to Letty right before I left and saying, you can go all the way. Like you can win this. I know you can win this. You can physically win this. You can socially win this. Like you can do this. And because, it's also cool because she was like very clean. She's like, I want to play clean. I'm not going to lie to anybody. And I was like, you can do this. And I looked her in the eyes right afterwards, and it was like a serious moment. And then I just walked out of the island. And so that's at the time who I was like really, really wanting to win. That's who I'm gunning for at that point.
Period. Now, would you do another reality show in the future? And if so, which show would you want to go on?
Hell yeah, I would do another reality TV show. I would probably try to do like athletic sort of kind of competition based reality TV shows like The Challenge, The Amazing Race, Survivor to a degree. But it's hard to choose another reality TV show that I would want to go on, because if you really take every one of those ones, pound for pound, Dondi is the fastest reality TV show you film. Dondi has the most potential money that you could win. And you're not like surviving per se. Like you're living luxuriously in domes and fed 3 good meals a day. You're not eating packs of rice, right? This is like, that was the best one I could have possibly done.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's hard to go and think, oh yeah, I want to do this other show for like $250,000 where I'm living in a tent and shitting in a bucket right over there, eating rice every single day, versus what I was doing on the island for way more money. But I mean, I like the sport of it. I like the entertainment aspect, so I would probably still do it.
I mean, I think Big Brother is a good mix with the whole, you living in a house, you're not really, roughing it, but
yeah,
you get the physical aspects, but it's just the stuck in the house all that time. You don't have fresh air all the time. That'll be driving me crazy. So
it's funny.
And the length. The length is the real killer.
Yeah.
The 90 to 100 day length is an insane amount of time. And Dr. Will talked to us about it, and he was like, I don't even know. I would tell my kids to do it. Like, it's a mind trip in there. I mean, it is really, really hard to kind of get past that sort of barrier between you and the outside world. You know, it's easy to go crazy in the house, which is, especially when you have 170 some cameras pointed at you. That makes a person go crazy, but
I can imagine. Well, Storm, we appreciate you. We appreciate you taking the time to talk to us. You have been a delight. And look, you are part of the Cup family now, so you can come back anytime if you want to. We appreciate that. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. Whenever you guys want. I love to run my mouth, so let me know.
Absolutely. Look, you let us know what reality show you are now going to start watching, and we probably cover it. You can come back and talk with us about it. That'd be great.
That's great. That sounds wonderful, guys.
All right. Thank you so much. We appreciate you.
Thanks, y'all.
Thank you.
Well, that was great. Storm was wonderful.
I mean, makes so much sense. And I'm so happy to hear that he got that fairy tale ending with Maria Grace. So
Absolutely.
Can't really fault that.
It was great. And I enjoyed him. So hopefully, look, he said he'll come back. So hopefully we'll get Storm back on here again to talk something else. But thank you guys for watching. We appreciate you checking us out. Y'all know what to do. Hit the subscribe button. And hit the subscribe button on this channel and all of our other channels. All those links will be in the description below. You can follow us on our audio podcast links if you need to listen to us on the go. And our Patreon. We got a lot coming down the pipe for our Patreon, so you want to join our Patreon and see all the fun things we have going on. Follow us at our socials at The Cup Pod on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, and Blue Sky. You can follow Jack and I on those same platforms as well. Instagram right there for me. And you can get your merch. Is what you can get. Get your cup merch, lanagcreations.etsy.com. And on that note, I think it's time for us to get out of here. So cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers.